First panel. Okay, so it's great to talk about countries. We thought it was good as well to welcome the European Commission point of view, the European Union point of view, with a special session about how startups and corporate can work together better with the Startup Europe partnership. And so I would like to welcome on stage our first moderator, Alberto Onetti, the CEO of Mind the Bridge and part of the Startup Europe partnership. Please welcome him on stage.
Thank
Alberto.
You. And enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everybody. And the topic of this initial panel is pretty relevant, I believe. So the starting point is that startups are everywhere. And the good news is that they are everywhere in Europe. In every country in Europe, we have plenty of startups coming up. But we need to start measuring success also in Europe, not in terms of number of startups, but in terms of number of startups that are making it, what we call the scale-ups, meaning startups that are able to produce revenue, employment, and innovation at scale. This is the goal. And so I have just one slide to show, and then as the Startup Europe partnership, that is an initiative by the European Commission that as Mind the Bridge we are leading, we are trying to understand how many of these scale-ups are all around Europe. And we are publishing a report. We're just releasing the report about France today. If you can show me the slides. Oh, next one, please. OK, you go. Now the report is available from download from the Startup Europe Partnership website. What we have found out that there are just in ICT sector, we have 200 plus startups in France that can be called scale-ups, meaning that at least had raised $500,000 in capital or have a relevant revenue. It is a starting point. Still far from UK, but definitely better than Italy and Spain. So there is some good stuff happening also in Europe. So you can just take a look at this data. We don't have to talk about it today. The topic of today is to discuss about one relevant point. If the starting point of our discussion is startups are relevant, but scale-ups are more relevant than startups, how we can have more scale-ups, how we can have startups able to grow, scale up, and become global leaders. And the main point here is that in order to get this result also in Europe, we need to foster the interaction between startups and corporates. This is the main point. Startups in the US account for 3% of overall employment, meaning that 97% of employment comes from established business. In Europe, probably is 1% and 99%. So unless we are able to make a clear bridge between startups and established business, we are probably wasting our time. And the topic of this panel today is how things like this could happen, how we can foster the interaction between corporates and startups. As Startup Europe partnership, we try to foster this interaction, putting startups and corporate together. And today I'm going not to present what we are doing as Startup Europe partnership, I'm going to put on stage a real example of corporate startup interaction, because I think examples count more than 1,000 words. And today we have, and I'm really happy that you have you on stage, we have the two different parts of the equation. We have a startup that is FamilyWall, a French startup that is scaling up, hopefully, and I'm really happy. We have Nicolas Frattaroli, that is the founder and president of FamilyWall. And we have, on the other side, a large corporate that is actively working with FamilyWall. And we have here Nathalie Boulanger, that is the senior vice president at Orange, and this is the person in charge of anything about startups inside Orange. And in order to don't have anything missing around this table, we also invited to come the European Commission, meaning politics, startups, and corporates. Looks like an impossible equation, but at the end you will find out it's not. So cutting off the chase and going to the point, Nicolas, can you tell a bit really shortly what are you doing, but mostly how Orange, and not just Orange, meaning large corporate help you to move the next step, becoming a larger company?
Yes. So good morning. My name is Nicolas Frattaroli. I'm the president and co-founder of FamilyWall. FamilyWall is a private space where families can organize their daily life, communicate and share best moment privately and safely. With FamilyWall, you can create different circles to manage your family, extended family, and friends. So our strategy has been from the beginning to scale up thanks to partnerships with operators. So FamilyWall is a freemium service available on the market, and we promote it bundled in operator plans, like we do with Orange, or as a co-branded standalone service distributed by the operator. For us, it has been very key, these partnerships, and in terms of scale, it has been very powerful. First of all, in terms of promotion and visibility, obviously. Thanks to these partnerships, we address millions of users. We benefit from SMS teasing. Millions of users receive teasing thanks to this. Newsletters. What is also very interesting for us is the VPL, virtual preload. Most of the new devices at Sprint embed our application. So in terms of user acquisition, it's huge for us. We address, thanks to this, millions of users, and we have measured that it has multiplied by more than 10 our user acquisition. I've not mentioned, but we have two big partnerships, one with Orange in France. Orange has launched our service in April this year. And the second with Sprint in the US, launched this summer. So in terms of promotion, it's huge. In terms of visibility also, we participated to events. We have been, for instance, announced by Stéphane Richard during one of his shows, the Hello Show. The CEO of Sprint has also mentioned our partnerships this summer during an event. In terms of PR, it's impressive for a small startup like us, and it's really interesting. So first, promotion, but it has also helped us to scale in terms of rollout. Working with Orange, it's very good because it's a large operator with different countries. So we leverage on our existing contract in France to roll out their other countries. There are also opportunities when you work with an operator like Orange. We participated to an event organized by Orange in Berlin to pitch in front of other operators. Thanks to that, Dutch Telecom will promote our service next February. Again, we don't have many sales in our company, so this exposure that we gain thanks to the operator is key. And finally, I would say in terms of business model, it's also very interesting for startups. We can have revenue sharing or royalties. We can integrate to their billing system, which facilitate the way we charge the user. So it's, for us, a very good success working with these operators. Obviously, it's not that easy. It's always a challenge to work with operators, but the good news is that they have changed. I really believe so.
Because just to give a bit more context, this is not your first company, right?
No, prior to FamilyWall, I created Vox Mobili, a mobile company which was providing synchronization and mobile backup, most of the time through operators already. And I remember that we had a contract with Dutch Telecom. It took us 3 years to sign this contract. With Orange, we have launched in 3 months and a half, and with Sprint, it has been even quicker. So that's good, and we are very happy of these partnerships.
Okay, just moving on the other side of the table. So corporates, that's the first information. Corporates are not doing this because they want to increase their goodwill and because they're trying to do some goods for the viewer. They're also doing that, but I think they have to do that because there is a need for them to embrace innovation coming from outside. It's called open innovation. At the end, reality is that no corporates in the world, even the most recent founded one, are able to produce the new wave of things internally. And so they need to look outside. And so there is a need, but there is also an opportunity. And so we are trying to leverage this opportunity. Nathalie, can you give us some color about, in terms of what does it mean for a company like Orange, the contribution of a company like FamilyWall, and more broadly, what's the approach of Orange towards the startup ecosystem?
Well, hi Isidro and hi everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you today. So open innovation, yes, of course, is part of our DNA. And so we launched several initiatives to support open innovation and to boost open innovation within the group. So first, 3 years ago, we launched a corporate venture fund, Orange Publicis Venture, 300 million euros fund. Because of course startups need money, but they also need revenue and customers, and that's why 2 years ago we launched an accelerator, Orange Fab, our acceleration program, a 3-month acceleration program dedicated to startups which already have a product or service developed to help them reach the market and go international. And that's really a win-win program between Orange and the startups, so both accelerating innovation for our customers, and FamilyWall is a very good example. Well, Family & Co, we launched together FamilyWall. And also, it's an acceleration of the growth of the startups, and we aim at helping startups scale up. So we launched this program first in San Francisco, as I mentioned, and then we are now present in 4 continents, in France, in Poland, in Israel, in Japan, and in Ivory Coast. So it's now an international network of accelerators. And to be even more efficient and attractive, we had a partnership with Deutsche Telekom. So Nicolas talked a little bit about this partnership. Deutsche Telekom has an acceleration program also named UBROM, and our footprint are very complementary. Together, we cover the whole Europe except Italy, and Middle East and Africa. And so that's a very good opportunity for the startups with a very interesting reach of Europe, Middle East and Africa. And that's, so we announced this partnership in last June, so it's very new. And so that's why Nicolas came with us at this event in Berlin. And so he is now a partnership also with Deutsche Telekom. And that's also why we decided to support this very bright initiative, Startup European Partnership, you mentioned, because it's always the same idea, and I think it's a very important idea, is how big corporates can help startups scale up, become European leaders, and so we want also to help future talents while accelerating innovation for our customers.
Yeah, thank you. So mentioning about Startup Europe Partnership is a platform originated by the European Commission. As Mind the Bridge, we are leading, but the originator is the European Commission. And we have today, at this stage, Isidro Ballesteros, that is the man behind, the man of the European Commission behind anything about startups. So if something's really moving in Brussels about startups, is also because of people or a person like him that are really pushing forward, and you see him elsewhere in Europe. And so it is really, believe me, it's really an uncommon approach from the big politics to be really on the field and walking the startup corridors and trying to making this interaction possible. So Isidro, the question is, we have seen what startups could do with corporate, we've seen what corporates are doing for startups. What's the politics and what the European Commission is doing about startups?
Thank you, Alberto, for the introduction. I welcome very much this collaboration between one startup and one corporate like Orange. We would like to see more like this in Europe. You know, digital has become now a very top priority in the Commission as never before. This has never been a priority at that level in the European Commission. First top priority is jobs and growth, but second one is digital. This, as you can imagine, is creating a lot of jealousy from other sectors, from banking to automotive, etc., because they are not at that level now, but this is now the decision of Juncker's commissioner, and we have to deliver on that. And of course, startups are one essential component of digital single market. We agree with Alberto's analysis that there is a problem in the scaling up and that there is not enough venture capital money and not enough public funds into this area of startups. We believe at the same time that corporates are not yet engaged into the startup ecosystem as much as in other areas of the world. And those corporates that are active in the startups are active only in a few countries, so they are missing some opportunities for not acting at EU-wide. There are some good examples, like the example of Orange, that was mentioned already, with the Orange Ventures, with the Orange Fab, with their agreement or the partnership with Deutsche Telekom. That's good. There are other good examples, like Telefonica, with another accelerator, Guaira, with funds like Amerigo, etc. So these are good starts, but do we have any data about how many acquisitions were acquiring Orange, Telefonica, or other corporates are doing in Europe? Do we have any data about how much are the corporates buying from startups, not from another corporates or from the traditional SMEs around themselves, but from the startups? So these are two things that the startups need: acquisitions, acquiring, and more than any other thing, procuring from them, buying from them. If any startup really needs to be able to scale up, is that one big company like Orange, for example, becomes a part of the customer base. So how the Commission is working on this area, we are exploring three paths. On the one hand, we are exploring the possibility to put EU funds to catalyze investments from corporates. We are working with the European Investment Fund in a new program called CORIP to do this, to put funds together with corporates to stimulate investment from the corporates. We are also creating awareness among the corporates about the opportunities that they are missing by not working with the startups. Two good examples of this is the Startup Europe partnership that Alberto is leading, but also all the activities we are doing with the private-public partnerships in the new H2020 program of the Commission for Research and Innovation. And finally, we are trying to help the corporates with professional services provided by people like Mind the Bridge, but also Nesta, the factory in Berlin, or BCT Accelerator in Spain, to reach out to investment opportunities all across Europe. All these initiatives started in 2014, and some of them even 2013, but they are going to be revamped as of 1st of January 2015. And we really hope to see results during next year and maybe 2016 again. And here a message from the Commission as a whole, not only from Isidro Laso. Please, if you have any problem, if you encounter any issue, or you want to provide us any input, please do it. We need to hear from you. We need to listen to you so that we make it right. We are going to regulate the digital single market. We better do it right. And to do it right, we need your inputs. In Brussels, the startup community doesn't have any lobby. There are lobby for all the other sectors, but not for the startup community. So please help us in doing this work of the digital single market right.
Okay. I saw a few questions from the floor that I'd like to answer. The first one is in terms of readiness. So are corporates ready to get more and more engaged with startups? And I think that reading the question, I see one pretty typical misconcept. There is a lot of fear from startups in getting involved with corporates because they are perceived as old, slow, and threatening. Sorry for that, all right, Nathalie. And on the one hand, it's true. On the other hand, it's no longer true. And so I believe that there is a lot of progress. Again, there is still a cultural gap between here and US, meaning that talking about what Isidro was mentioning, the acquisition culture in Europe is not that as widespread as it is in US, but still things are moving also on that side. And so there is one question that is pretty clear is, does Orange take any stakes of corporates participating into the Orange Fab, any stakes from corporates that are doing business relation like that. Do you want to answer this?
Yeah. Within the Orange Card program, we have convertible notes, but that's $20,000 in San Francisco, 15,000 euros in France. So that's not, this acceleration program is not about funding. But of course, nothing is automatic, but we can invest in some of the startups. But I think that to help startups scale up, there is of course a problem of funding. But I think that we don't, through the acceleration program, we don't want necessarily to be to acquire the startups of the Orange Fab program. That's not the main idea, and the idea of Family and Co is a very good is a very good example, because we helped Family and Co working together to launch their service in France. Thanks to this good result, I think for them it was very easy to reach the American market, and so with Verizon, so to work with other telcos, not only with one telco, and now through our partnership also with Deutsche Telekom. So the idea is not necessarily to be the only one and the only telco working with the startups. I don't think that is necessarily the best way to help startups scale up.
Exactly. One of the main points is to try to put more corporates together around the same table, standardize their way to interact. So she talked about convertible notes. 5 years ago, it was just fiction that a corporate could consider, but also accelerators to consider convertible notes as the way to invest. Now it's pretty standard, and it's pretty standard that these guys work together, have standard terms that are particularly market standards. It's pretty good. So final question, you are running out of time, and you are just going to say, how do you make money?
So we make money by selling premium features to users. These premium features are additional services around families, like in the US, locating kids, or providing additional services for families.
Okay. Which is your conversion rate from free to premium?
It depends, because if we are included as a bundle in a plan, everybody benefits from the premium. So obviously the rate is 100% at that time. But I would say after a certain period of time, we reach 7 to 9% conversion rate, which is quite good, I guess.
It's pretty good. So the Dropbox is 2-3%. So. Okay, so I think we are running out of that. Thank you, Nathalie. Thank you, Nicolas. Thank you, Isidro, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for your passion. Bye.